So this is like our second version, or not, it wouldn't be our second version. We had a little bit of issue with our last recording of this
Oh,
episode, so we're kind of redoing it, but it's going to be better. It's going to be better than what it was before. It's definitely because I'm in Carmel. I'm an hour north or 2 hours, no, not north. I'm 2 hours south, right, of San Francisco. Good that I know geography, but let's get into it. We were just watching prior to this, and normally we have the podcast. I don't really like calling it a podcast, but normally have this experience of the three of us together in the messy middle on Thursdays, but it is a Monday recording today. One, because I'm out in the West Coast, and the three of us were watching the OpenAI DevDay, and this is a important episode for founders that are in the middle and are like, holy crap, everything that I was working on was just blown up and I need to start again. And this happens to lots of founders, by the way.
can we just have a moment of
So
silence for all the startups that were killed
yes,
by
yes.
OpenAI today
and Siri.
and Siri? I mean,
And
one of
Siri,
those,
that's
like,
right.
I'm excited, but I think, like, I don't know. Frank, what do you think on the startups that just got obliterated?
I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's the nature of startups every time you have that. Like, I keep saying it reminds me of the Twitter age, like back in 2009, and all these startups were like, oh my God, like Twitter, like we're going to use Twitter to build this Twitter thing that's gonna be like putting all the tweets together, and people raise money on it, and they started to recruit people on it, and then Twitter was like, well, you know what, like we'll just close the API and build our own things, and that just like instantly all the Twitter startups like died, and here it's OpenAI is kind of doing that predictively, like all the startups were gonna use OpenAI to read PDF files or all these things, and so it's super competitive, like today is OpenAI, tomorrow Facebook will launch Llama 3, and then you have Grok. And I'm just glad I'm far away from that. And I just look at it from like a user perspective, where it's like, okay, there's like Intel and AMD and they're fighting. And I'm just like, I don't care. I'll buy the cheapest one and the best one, whether it's open source,
We've all, I
closed
mean, we've all
source.
been,
And so,
and
so as a
we've
user,
all been
it's
there,
great. I'll
right?
be like, yeah, exactly. And so anyway, like the thing, I think whatever you do, if you do what's next in a startup that's in that field, my advice is just be a user, and then you'll be in a great place because everybody's going to fight for making your tools better.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it as, look, we talk to our friends. What is the when you're thinking about AI and you're thinking about what's next, if you're going to be riding this wave, um, you don't want to compete with OpenAI. You don't want to compete with Google. You don't want to compete with Microsoft. But what you want to do is you want to be thinking about it from the perspective of we're gonna go in, find an industry, and maybe look at the industry that's replacing jobs, which all
Mhm.
of them are going to be doing, right?
Yeah.
We look at sort of the history of this and how this has happened in industrial revolution, in in America, of the factories moving over to Asia. And I would say, like, the way I view it is, look, I want to go in and be a business that's going to be a paying customer of OpenAI or a paying customer of Google or of Grok, and have them build some stuff for me. Like, I don't know, I've got a call center, and I want to buy that call center and build tech around that with OpenAI. I don't know. I'm saying those are the ideas I like better than
I
saying I'm going to build a new foundational model
I want
or
no
something crappy on top.
I
Yeah.
want to pass it back to Teddy, but I remember you
Yeah.
were talking offline before, and you made a remark about, like, how to work on something that's longer vision, blah blah. I think at the end of the day, the one thing I would try to avoid, and it's so tempting, it's don't try to get rich fast. Because as soon as you're like, holy shit, there's a wave of opportunity, let's build this thing right now that's going to make us rich really, really fast. I think from my experience, and maybe it's personal, but I remember this other guy from YC was talking about it. You have to take away the I'm going to make money really fast. Be at ease with that. You're not going to make any money really fast. And now if you eliminate that, what's left? And what's left is something that you think can make money in 2 years. And that's the right, I think at least that's a good one. If you're trying to go, holy shit, like OpenAI, let's make, these PDF reader things, like it works. It works for some people. That's a strategy. But personally, I'm not into that war of, holy shit, like NFT are launched. Let's do, it's like some people are really good at that. and right away
We
they're
tried
gonna
it.
make an Instagram. Yeah, but we're too slow. But it's because it's our nature. But I mean, there's gonna be people right now tonight who are gonna go on YouTube, we're gonna go on Reels, and gonna say, "Hi, I'm Coach Frank. Here's how you can be really, really rich right now thanks to GPTs." You know, and they're just gonna write that thing right now and that's fine. It just, to me, it's super boring and it's not visionary. But if you're breathing like, okay, I'm not gonna make money right now, but then what's my second horizon? Then anyway, pass it
But
back
it's
to you,
not
Teddy.
it's not just the very basic generic ideas like people recording videos now, quick money, fast.
Maybe we should do that.
No, but like there's some thing in between where a decent idea, even in our brainstorming, in my personal now journey, being in this messy middle, thinking about ideas, there are some that are logical and you almost want to spend some time and getting deeper into them. The idea makes sense, and you wouldn't think that OpenAI will work on that thing. And somehow and we've seen this 3-4 times now with their demo days or whatever, some core ideas that are needed in the ecosystem. And like, I don't know, I can't remember now what exactly, but there was one idea that I was thinking about, and then somehow it turns out that they already built it internally, and you wouldn't think that they would go that direction. So this is the tricky part, and I'm sure there are a lot of founders actually being right now in that spot where they've actually
a lot of founders will be
invested money
drinking tonight.
Yeah. How do you go about that? Because like, how do you know what OpenAI is going to release next, or not just OpenAI now, Grok and X.AI?
I can tell you what they're going to release next, and I'll pass it to you, Gabriel. But like, to me, no doubt the next announcement will be a controller for agents.
So what are we betting for that? Is this if it's let's Teddy, come on, let's put a bet together. Frank is putting out a prediction, and his predictions are always right, according to Frank.
Yeah, 50,
I know.
50
So it
bucks.
just takes time.
Yeah, no, the controller for agents is
okay.
logical thing even before this announcement.
So okay, wait, no, wait, we're doing the bet. 50 bucks. So
Yeah.
we've got. So I will be on the side that it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Frank will be
I'm
on the
not
side that it
against
does
it.
happen.
I think it will happen.
Okay.
Moise,
So I'm going to lose a lot of money.
joke apart, whether you're an investor or an entrepreneur, and I keep saying that, and you guys know I keep saying that, you have to be right about the future. And if you're right about the future, you'll be okay. You know, it's like, oh, Bitcoin, great idea. Twitter, amazing. So right now the game is everything is moving really, really fast. And what can you be right about that's still going to be there in 2 years? And
right.
And the one thing that we get more and more right, because we started this thinking like a couple of months ago, but it's very clear that the future is going to be into what we call agent-oriented programming. Everything is going to be broken down into these agents, and these agents will be plugged to these providers of artificial brains, and these brains are going to be also learning in a better way, hopefully at one point. But it's very clear now that you're going to start to think about doing the startups the same way as you think about recruiting, but instead of recruiting people, you're going to build and recruit agents.
Yeah, and what's the point of building apps like anyways when you have this new concept right now? Like, why would you spend money on building user experiences and Figma prototypes?
So basically, as we're going through this messy middle, you know, the three of us, but also tons of our community out there and entrepreneurs around the world, you know, you really want to think bigger than just building an app on top of something. I mean, that's a suggestion that we all get, the three of us, all the time. And yes, some entrepreneurs are able to do it, but the ones that you see that are able to do it in the timing element where they're lucky. They've got it and they've had some luck. And you really don't want to play in the camp where you need to be like so lucky that this happens and then, you know, it may never happen again. But we know a few people that definitely every time some wave comes out, they're able to ride it and they're able to raise like, I don't know, $50-100 million, and they cash out and they've made their $20-30 million each time. I could say the three of us, that doesn't happen that way. And it's a long burn. And, you know, there's this indication where you think that, well, I'm not making money today, so that means I'm not going to make money 2 years from now. No, it's not how it works. Oh, you might not make money from 2 years from now, but it's better to put a foundation into it and see from a long-term point of view, because things are changing so rapidly. And I got some advice last week. You know, I'm in San Francisco meeting all of the interesting forms of entrepreneurship out here, which is our next topic, right? Geography. And let's really get into it, because we covered enough of OpenAI and it's enough PR for them, free PR. They're not even sponsoring us yet, but they will. They will. I'm in San Francisco, and Frank, you're in Estonia. Teddy, you're in New York City. And out here, the entrepreneurship style is very different than what we're used to in both New York City and Estonia. And of course, we all have had experiences in San Francisco. So and we're not, first-time entrepreneurs. But I will tell you out here what I've seen and what's been opening my eyes a little bit from my past experience is just everybody thinks that for the most part that have raised big amounts of money and are able to be successful, they think of these crazy ideas. I mean, last week, I had a physical. I weigh 141 pounds. I'm too skinny. I know. I'm the skinniest guy in this podcast. 5'11". Sometimes on a good day, I'm 6 feet tall. But the person was like, "Why don't you do a startup where you take the gene that you have in your genome that makes you skinny, and then take it from that to a form that people can inject in their embryo or whatever. So they have skinny kids." And so I wore skinny jeans. So maybe that's what makes me skinny. I don't know. But effectively, they were pitching me this idea. And they're like, we could probably raise 30, 50, $100 million. And I can call this guy, this guy, this guy, and we get it done. And we know who to go to. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, in New York City, that would never fly. And in Europe, they'd be like, they would already have walked out the door.
Yeah, that's very
so
that's very
geography is
interesting.
important for ideas, right?
Yeah.
You could
So
call the
my
company
question is
Skinny
how
Jeans.
important is Frank, we've talked about this subject a couple times. You moving to Asia, how important is geography, and I don't know, being physically somewhere. We have remote work on the other side, and people tend to work in the offices more now. It's the opposite.
Well, I mean, look, what I see is that where we are now as founders is we've got a network, right? We have a global network. But maybe at some point we need to change our geography. I mean, you came over from North Macedonia last year, Teddy, right? It's only last year into New York. And Frank
2 years ago from Estonia.
was in 2 years ago. Okay. And Frank's lived all over the States. He's thinking about moving to Detroit, which I totally am against.
Go Detroit.
And now he's back in Estonia. Yeah. But I think as we look, the question that you posed, Frank, even offline before this, what got us onto this topic was, if you're a writer back in the day, or if you're in the Renaissance and you're painting, you're going to go to one of the cities where it was happening, right? Or even go even further back. Amsterdam, was the capital of trade and business for a hell of a long time. Now, today, the United States is still going to be around. And the real question is, are there other locales to go to build, successful businesses and actually do it differently because of remote work, because of AI? It's something that I struggle with.
I mean, you talked about our network, and we all have, I guess, when you have experience, as a founder, you develop that network. But let's observe what our network is doing. And what I see is our network is, I see a lot of my friends living outside of the US, keep doing the business in the US, and trying to get a good lifestyle in Europe. And I think this composite kind of lifestyle where business is on one side of the earth, and you look for what's the best place to put the business. And then yourself or your family, you're trying to be at what's the best place for me. It's gonna be better and better. And then after that, I still think the US, especially now San Francisco, is still the heart of artificial intelligence innovation, and all these research are being done there because the data is there and because the talent is there. But Estonia right now, because I wanted to be in Europe, close to my family, but also because Estonia is the highest density of startups in Europe. It's number 4 in the world after Israel, and it's number 1 for education in OECD. So I know that if my kids grow up here, they'll have great education and they'll be fine. If your kids grow up in the US, you'd better have a lot of money, if you want them to have a future of some sort. And then there's countries like Vietnam, fastest growing economy in the world.
Okay, but what do you mean?
Where it's going to be interesting. Sorry, go on.
Okay. No, I was saying, you know, you better be rich to have your kids out, have opportunity in the States. I
Of
mean,
course, of course.
controversial because sometimes people say with entrepreneurs, well, sometimes say with entrepreneurs, it's better not to grow up in a rich family. It's better to grow up in something struggling. I mean,
Yeah, of
let's not
course.
get into that topic too much, but like
No, no. Steve Blank talks about
Vietnam,
that. He says good entrepreneurs come from dysfunctional families. I'm not sure if rich or poor really matters. Like,
we really need to get Steve Blank on here one of these days
yeah,
because
that'd
you
be great.
keep
Yeah,
mentioning Steve Blank. So
Steve's amazing.
I'm waiting for Teddy to mention somebody a billion times. Yeah, and then we'll figure out who Teddy
We
wants.
should have a game every time I say
But for
Steve
like
Blank.
the
We should have a drink. But yeah,
yeah, we should. We should. Cheers to that. Vietnam. I mean, Teddy, like Frank has told me ever since I've known Frank, he said Vietnam
million
and
times.
but it's not
a
me. It's
million
the
times. And I'm not
PricewaterhouseCoopers 2050 report. You know, it's BCG, it's McKinsey.
But
I'm
you
just
can
reading.
just go
oh,
there. You guys mentioned a couple of things like family, friends, community,
Mhm.
geography. You
I
can
went
just
there.
move
how do you
to place
yeah,
and
okay,
live
but
there.
move there. You're saying
Yeah.
move there. When you say okay, now we get the PWC link in the Zoom. Don't worry, we will send this to everybody. We'll put it below the caption on the YouTube video, or if we do this on X, so you can see the PWC. But
Yeah.
really, how do you like as you get older, it's harder to make these, you know, kind of moves. Like and we're in our 30s and 40s. So like it's not like we're getting younger, right? And
Mhm.
our connections are everybody's having babies and stuff.
Yeah, I want to be sure, you know, Teddy, you can chip in because you're living it right now, moving from Macedonia to New York. To me, I've done it many times, and so I think I got it down to a process. And my guess is what we are doing now is how most people will live in the future. It's difficult right now because we're trailblazing for that lifestyle. But the way I see it is, I moved to a new country, I moved to a new culture, and it's going to take me 3 to 4 years to be able to really install myself there, build new friends, develop new things. But it's possible, and I think you can do it until you're 90 years old. It's fine as long as your family is following you. The one
Oh,
question I have for kids is, how do you deal with kids? And at one point I was like, okay, maybe I should launch a startup that's like, you know, an education system like a gym where you can go anywhere around the world. But my friend told me you don't need to do that because the France, and that's like fortunate for me, in every country in the world, in every big cities, there's a French school.
Oh, well,
And
lucky
so,
you.
and
very
so,
cool.
Yeah, but there's an
and so,
American school too.
uh,
Do
but
they
yeah,
do they
maybe you're
do
right.
they
You're right.
serve baguettes there? Do they have baguettes and butter
They
and
do, but for
croissants
example,
there?
in Estonia, in Tallinn, maybe I'm missing it, but I don't know any American school. But in Tallinn, you have a French school. In Vietnam, in Hanoi, you've got a French school. Like in San Francisco, there's a
Well, it
French school.
makes sense
So
that in
anyway, so for
Vietnam would
me,
have a French
so,
school.
so I guess the trick is, as long as your kids will speak French, then you can do that. It's easy.
So Teddy, I mean, you
But sorry,
left.
Teddy is leaving it. So you left,
No,
family,
no, I
friends
know,
in
but
Macedonia.
It's a
yeah,
different thing.
you left.
Mhm. Yeah, go
No,
ahead, Gabriel.
no, I was just gonna say you're living it. Tell us why it's different. I mean, it's we have a live case here, you know.
I think it's different that what Frank explained. It's not I'm not like looking to move every 4 years or not going to whatever the next report says, you know. It's just I always wanted to be here.
Why?
I think the opportunity is the biggest thing. But then there are other things like the culture that I grew up with and watching movies and music. It's a lot of other things, but I wasn't really thinking about like friendships, relationships before, and now it's like it definitely affects your life. You have to spend a decent portion of your time. It's an effort to make new
It's exactly
friends.
that. As you get older, it really is an effort.
Yes.
But if you don't do it, like there was this study from Harvard that shows that the one way to be happy or miserable is can be predicted by the amount of people you have in your network. And so,
yes,
you know, don't isolate yourself.
But it's a network with a connection. So, and I think, you know, this gets into the final part of our discussion today. I don't know how many minutes are we at, guys, on our Zoom call right now? I mean, this will
we don't
probably be
have
the
any
juiciest part. We don't have any timer or anything?
No, I don't see
My
it.
gosh. So if anybody in our audience has a better option of recording these podcasts, let us know.
But we'll try live on X next time. We'll try all these things.
Yeah, we'll try them all. Look, we like to get a taste of everything, but like I want to talk about relationships and who you should surround yourself with in this messy middle. Like
Oh, we should invite Jeff
it's
Bezos on this one.
oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
why is that?
So why?
His new
Why? I
wife.
like when Frank points something out. Oh, okay.
Ah,
And his old one. Sorry.
I think that would
He's
be a
moving
good
to
conversation, but
Florida now. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
well, I mean, that's where I live, but not
It's a
necessarily
big
by
deal in
choice.
Seattle.
That
Though.
was
Yeah, I know.
It's a huge deal. But I don't think that's relevant. That would be
Sorry.
like post exit messy founders. No. Don't apologize. We love you, Frank.
Yeah.
So that's why you make this experience fun because, as my wife says, Frank is very smart and very intelligent. You need to let him talk. So, um, who like I make sure that when I'm going through this process, I call a lot of people. I'm a real psychopath. I think I talk to maybe 10 or 12 people a day, and I
Sorry,
bitch and
what
complain
process?
about
the messy
the
middle.
messy middle of figuring out
Oh.
like what you want to work on it. Like the whole point of this podcast. So, and for everybody, Frank has not had dinner tonight, so he's on half capacity, and it's like 10 o'clock.
That's fine. That's fine.
But
I'm just in general, I guess human interaction is not my strength, but I don't know. Yeah, your process is talking to people. Teddy's process, I'm
Head
not sure. I
down
think it's
yeah,
building.
what is Teddy's
Yeah,
process?
no, it's interesting that you said that, Gabriel, and I've seen you talk to people, and you called me once, and we talked about brainstorm some ideas. Uh, I'm built differently culture wise because I think I'm coming from that different culture where you don't call people to brainstorm with them. Typically, people are in like my past are they will try to not help you in a way. So you don't want to share your plans
Oh,
with people. I mean, it's not like
oh,
I don't want to generalize, but yeah, it's part of the culture. It's you're not encouraged to fail. If you say you're gonna do something, you have to do it. Otherwise, people be like, yeah, why wouldn't you? I don't know. It's like different culture for sure.
how did you overcome that?
Uh, I
By
don't think I
moving?
did. I mean, I'm still going through that, and I wish
Yeah.
I'm in a position to call people and talk. But then also goes back to, do I have that group of people? I have you guys now, but in this transition period, I don't think I have a lot of folks that I can call and talk about entrepreneurship and people that will really understand what you're going through potentially. So it's for me, it's more like head down, build things, show to the world, and then go from there.
Frank, what about you?
I don't believe that talking to people is very useful because the questions we have are so complicated, which is like, what should I do? What business should I build? And no one is going to be like, oh, you should do that. I'm like, oh, great idea. It never happened. Like I've never had that experience. Sure, it's good to bitch and vent a lot, but I don't expect anything from anyone. You're kind of left alone in that adventure. And I think all I do is I try to keep moving. It's like just keep moving, just keep doing things, just keep exploring. And the 1-2 things I'm looking for is, can I build a good team? Can I have someone I can work with? So I'm not, so there's some sanity into bouncing ideas, but I always look for good co-founders. And if not, I'll just do a business alone. And when I do that, what I do is the thing that's useful for me is reading historical books, like old books. And I study a lot the 19th century because there was a lot of new things there, and I try to draw parallels. And the thing I like about this process is whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to draw parallels with these books, and then I turn the page and I see a solution to whatever challenge was happening in the 19th century, and then I try to translate that into yeah, and then I'm like, okay, the thing they were facing was a big issue, and it took them 5 years to figure it out, and that's the solution. And that's the equivalent to what's happening today in the 21st century of AI. And therefore, that's a good bet. And that's how I get excited. But I like talking to people is not going to, yeah, first principle. But talking to people is not going to help you. It's a good thing to talk to people so you don't left alone. But I'm yet, like, if someone's come to you and say, drop your life and do this, and that's the one thing you should do, it doesn't work on me.
No. That doesn't happen. That's never happened to me. So, and I've always had to be the one that is like, let's go work on this. I'm the person that does that. But what I'm saying about talking to people and the way I do it is I'm energized by people, right? Like Friday night, I flew out here for the dinner party that I went to, and there was all these people there, and I didn't expect anything from it. And I had some really good conversations. And conversations are a lifeblood for me because I'm an extreme extrovert. But I've never had a situation where somebody's like, hey, why don't you go work on this idea, Gabriel? Like, and I'm like, well, why do I want your throwaway idea? You're not going to go work on that with me.
I would challenge your own. I would challenge. Sorry, I would challenge your own observation. I don't think it's the people that helps you or energize you. It's the travel. It's because you travel and then you connect to another network, because you can meet people where you are, right, in Florida.
Of course.
But it's not going to energize you. And so I'm the same with Teddy. He's energized because he's in New York, and it's like there's all these new things. And so I think traveling and meeting people is a good combination.
That's interesting, energizing. I said I'm head down building things, maybe that gives me energy, and then that's how I kind of move forward and figure out what to do in that situation. So it's not like the people relationship, but it's what energizes you, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree.
Yeah.
And vice versa. What sucks the energy out of you is important to stay away from.
For me, it is talking to people.
Well, I'm sorry.
What is it for you, Gabriel?
I won't call you Teddy next time to brainstorm.
No, me being in your position and talking to people.
Okay, what sucks the energy out is when people say like, "Hey, let's go work. Like, you should go work on this idea. Like, why don't you, or when people offer me a job, they say you should go get a job. Fuck, I hate that. And
you shouldn't. It's a good thing. Many people look for jobs, but I understand.
No, I know, but I hate it because I feel like they're judging me and saying like, well, you've been an entrepreneur, and you've been successful. Yeah, you raised $300 million. You have a public company. You've sold 3 businesses. You've lived around the world. But you know what? Why don't you do this business development role at this game company?
Talking about things that suck your energy, and Teddy knows that because we talked about it before. But it's whenever you have an idea and be like, "Oh, that's a great idea! Look, this startup just raised $10 million."
Oh God, I hate that! I hate it.
or like, "Oh, I'm doing this startup on e-voting." Like, "Oh, that's great! You should talk to these guys. They are doing a startup on e-voting." Like, why would I talk to my competitor? And I mean, think about the people right now who watch the OpenAI, event. Like, how many of them energy just got sucked to the ground to be like, "Holy shit!" Like, how do I compete with that? Like, so
we'll do a second moment of silence for those people, because we feel for you. We've been there.
I feel for them.
I don't know. And Teddy, what sucks your energy out other than people? And then we'll wrap it up here, because I think we've spoken enough about
podcasts.
No, the thing that friend just mentioned, when I absolutely hate it when I see that, like, someone just shared a random link without knowing the context. Although I'm working on something else, and the other idea is similar.
But you're good at sending those though to Frank.
No, I actually learned that from Frank.
He talks about random ones.
I was paying back to him. That was like payback time. But no, I absolutely hate that.
Vice versa. He started the war.
You see what you're doing sucks, and these guys are doing it better, and they already raised money. So, F you and don't do your idea. That's really energy drainer. So don't send me any links for anything.
It's like this article I saw yesterday about a guy, and that's written by a journalist who wrote a book next about how to figure out what's next. So it's very relevant to what we do. And the article was about how brave a guy from New York, who was a broker or trader, was making $1.7 million a year, decided to quit his job without knowing what he's going to do next. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how is that?
Well, and it's like,
he's relevant to anyone's what's next. I mean, most people who what's next are facing no money, no idea, no future, tons of work, like very public, and you're like, oh, I've been very successful. And it's even worse, I think, it's when people believe you've been very successful, but you don't have much money, and then you have to. And so anyway, so I guess what also, I guess, sucked my energy is social media. You just open anything, and everybody is so positive all the time. You're like, oh shit, like that's all. I always wanted to do Shitagram. If anyone wants to launch that one. The social media where you look at it and it's always bad shit, and then you feel better about your life.
This is what always sometimes pisses me off with Frank. I mean, I love Frank. He's got a lot of good ideas, a lot of bad ideas. But he loves being like, why don't we work on this idea together? And he's like, but I don't want to do it. You should do it. So if anyone's listening that they want to be a CEO or like,
they feel like they want to be a CEO.
Yeah, like or like a CEO with Frank. I would say reach out to Frank. He's got a lot
Oh,
of
I don't
these
want
good
to be CEO
ideas.
ever. It's I'm
No. I'm saying he doesn't want to, so reach out to him. And
totally.
he's successfully actually done it with 2 businesses so far, which
But
I'm amazed.
no, more than 2, like 3 or 4. But the thing about CEO, it's funny because you have this XKCD. I remember with Brian, a friend of mine. But when you're a first time founder, you're like, I'm CEO, and then you always say, no, I'm CEO. And for anyone who has experience, it becomes you're the CEO. Like, no, you're the CEO. And so I admire CEOs. Like CEO is really it's a tough job.
Yeah, I
But
like being CEO,
yeah.
but I really like, if I'm totally honest here, and look, I've been honest the whole
Chairman
time.
is the best one.
That's
Yeah, I
me.
agree. Yeah,
Chairman
okay, me too.
Gabriel.
Love that.
Look,
Yeah.
if I could be chairman all day long, it'd be fantastic. You zoom
Too
in,
young.
you zoom
You
out.
need to be older.
I'm growing the beard out a little bit. Okay, so we like to leave ourselves with a quote at the end of our messy middle
Oh,
episodes.
Oh shit, hold on. I just
yeah, I
ChatGPT about that.
forgot.
I didn't know.
Well, I did the quote
Begin with a
last
quote.
week,
You
so
did, yeah. Have some
Teddy,
more
you got
quotes?
the quote for this week. No, it's Teddy.
I
It's
was thinking
you.
about.
Frank will be next week.
I got
I don't
geography
know.
is destiny, but that's for another time. And
Geography is destiny for sure. But then let's see. Yeah, if it's not a quote, but like if you're, I guess the best way to protect yourself from what OpenAI is doing and XAI is doing, it's practically doing nothing. So just like don't do anything right now. If
are
you're
you
helpful
quoting
about some
yourself?
things. Yes.
He's quoting himself. This,
That's like great.
you know,
I
out of
don't.
the 3 of us, I didn't expect Teddy would be the one that quotes himself, but
You
I
caught me
love
off
it.
guard. I wasn't ready
Is
for.
It's
that
like
Yeah.
yeah?
he's like a diary of the CEO, or maybe he's more like Jason Calacanis.
No,
He's
I'm
that
not.
of our group. No, I know, I'm kidding. But
Uh,
really, I think that's a good one. So if you're, I'll let me actually read the quote that he sent in our little podcast. It's not a podcast, our experience group. It
or
was,
group chat. Yeah.
if I could, that group chat, if I could scroll up enough. Where is this?
I
Now,
tweeted that already. So.
you deleted it? What'd you do?
No. I tweeted that already, or actually, whatever it's called. I X'd it.
You X'd it? You X'd it?
Yes.
So can you read it so
Uh,
that we can sometimes the
yeah.
best way to protect yourself from OpenAI and now X.AI is to literally do nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sounds
a
like
good
me.
one. That's a good one now. Okay, we'll let Frank go eat his dinner. I'm gonna go
Thank you.
enjoy the beautiful day in Carmel here. I mean, look at this, guys. You should be here. It's amazing. You should come. The Wi-Fi is amazing. Um, talk to you guys
It's
next
nice.
week. We'll have a fun one. We'll have a fun one. This is great. This is a lot of fun.
Yep.
If anybody wants to reach out to the messy middle guys, shoot us a note. And
Steve Blank.
au revoir, Steve Blank. Yeah, where's Steve
Revoir.
Blank?
Bye.
Oh, bye bye.
All right.